Mm, 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 mm. Well, hello there. Hey, hi, social media family. Any subscribers or visitors alike. As persons among yourselves are affiliated or associated with and representing my own YouTube social media channel in our chat room or comment section or whatever I ever said. How are you all doing? Well, hopefully everyone, everybody, each and every one of your persons, same now, sense of word, are or is at least doing okay and feeling like so for that matter. It's not better yet to be said. All right, you know, doing and feeling all right. If not best of all to be said, to be calm or be of a status or whereas it could be considered that your persons and anybody else affiliated, associated with and representing your different family households so far as friends is concerned, as well as your loved ones, and whereas hopefully the same can or could possibly be said, stated for the record when it comes to matters of me and mine. But then disregard or ignore what you hear in the background. It's just this crazy MF of that is stupid and sick SOB bastard of a low-life scumbag, poop butt pissant, riffraff, character of a neighbor from damn hell, of a male of the same sex, you know, the one that threatened my life verbally a few times, like as if I have to mention him every time that I do a social media broadcast of video content, being because misery loves company, whereas he's not all that important, but he figures that he'll get himself mentioned to attempt to deceive others into thinking as if he is relevant, when in all reality he is not himself. Let's give credit where it is due. Then, because it don't take much to be a fool, especially a poop button pissant, a low life scumbag riffraff, as he continues to, and not that the president's social media broadcast of video content is supposed to be about him. I'm gonna wrap this up. But then, as you all know, he continues to attempt to be a pain in the you know what when it comes to my person, as he continues to assume he has a legit personal vendetta grudge match with me. The same one of a male character, of a psychopath and sociopath, of whom I had to call the police upon at least a few times already, most recently, for him threatening my life verbally, And so much for that conversation, the dialogue. Just as long as he remembers to stay outside my apartment door with his creepy, cowardly, faggoty, low-life scumbag riffraff self, then we won't have a problem. And moving right along. But then hopefully you all are faring much better than I myself. Up under conditions of extenuating circumstances, as I was saying and stating for the record. Yes, as you all see or hear. Up under conditions, being as it is, that I myself become subjected to experiencing that is my person, otherwise upon a daily and nightly basis. Coming from the likes of you know who. Anyway, though, today's or tonight's or the present social media broadcast, being as it is of video content, is some or such a nature, whereas I wish to speak my mind, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my own views and opinions or perspectives, and, give my about that being of a news headline story, being as it is, regarding making reference to that rather tragic incident overseas across the great waters of the Atlantic and for the Middle East, whereas Good Samaritan volunteer workers or employees for that of a positive humanitarian cause were mistaken for the likes of whom the Israeli military have gone to war with, being their rival counterparts so far as Islamic-moslem terrorists is concerned. Oh, excuse me. And whereas they themselves, the volunteer workers or employees in question, were mistaken for the likes, and they had gotten hit by drone missiles that took out, some of such vans of them, and it was like the shot heard around the world, whereas the Israeli military had gotten quite a bit of bad publicity for that. You know, bad PR, public relations, statements against their persons. And whereas I get to wondering, how in the world could that have happened? It kind of make me, being a person of I myself, have some such, rather serious as well as second thought about volunteering for any worthwhile humanitarian cause as a result of developments as that name, you know. Then I don't think I could have ever volunteered my services anytime too soon on a positive note to play the part of a good Samaritan, trying to think of it with my intentions to benefit others, persons affiliated, associated with, or representing our own human species, you know, and I say overseas, then because I myself am having quite a bit of a personal life crisis, the problem in my own backyard as it is with certain neighbors, probably nuisance problem neighbors or proverbial neighbors from damn hell. So until I can get that issue resolved, so I will pretty much so stay, in the States until further notice, you know. Yes. Disregard what you're hearing in the background. As I was saying, certain obnoxious, pathetic, pitiful neighbors, of the life who continue to attempt to harass, intimidate, and or persecute their fellow neighbors. Here it is, something like 12 midnight. I'm hearing this crap. Stupid and crazy of a certain person. And as he himself is a local drug pusher. Idiot, sickle, psycho, social reject. So much for that conversation. Dialogue. As I say, some certain person is so miserable, his misery loves company. Whereas they would attempt to force a social environment of relationship upon others and being of an unwelcome as well as unwarranted and unjustified one. Just as long as he stay outside my apartment door, we won't have a problem. It is 12 midnight. He's carrying on like so. And as it is the case, Getting back to some of such out before I was so rudely interrupted, just as long as he stayed outside my apartment door. But obviously, evidently, to be making a commotion outside of my apartment door in the hallway, he's up to no good at this late night hour, at this ungodly hour of the night. You know, and although I had established 11 p.m. hour for my bedtime, but still I would have to be watchful or that much more alert, seeing how I'm now a resident or tenant in one of the worst or worstest of Vicente area neighborhood communities, you know, and therefore I'm being bothered with some of such worst or the worstest of neighbors from down hell among the likes of themselves, produce of problem neighbors, particularly and especially this particular one. Then so much for that conversation and dialogue, as I was saying, you know, stating for the record, just as long as a certain neighbor from down hell of a public problem neighbor remembers to stay outside my apartment door, we won't have a problem. Otherwise, I'll be sure to call the police again if push comes to shove. Read between lines, fill in blank. Anyway, getting back to some of such other, you know, and so these good Samaritans or volunteers, they were mistaken for the likes of Islamic-moslem terrorists somehow, and it resulted in developments of their death as they were hit with drone missiles, as some of such given moment in time, coming from the Israeli military or Israeli militia or whatever I said, you know. And that don't look good for, the Zionists. No, not in any regard in reference to some of such matters, you know. And whereas the Israeli president of that small democratic republic of democracy in the Middle East, as it is familiar with being called that being of the state of Israel, had to make a public apology to the global or international community for what had happened. Whereas he's himself is saying in more words or less, like yada 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 woo woo woo. Whereas he's saying it's unfortunate that had to happen, and my condolences goes out to the family members and friends, their surviving loved ones. As well. Anyway, though, so such as is the case of situation up under that condition of an incident, whereas it had become a major news headline story to be considered, I mean, from fire trucks to paramedics, etc., to an investigative committee trying to figure out how in the world did that happen, And whereas now it has put a damper on things for any volunteers wanting to play the role of good Samaritans, to seriously think about contributing their own personal efforts, time and energy, and to be of a mind to relieve the what you call the 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 rather devastating existence of their fellow human beings wherever in the world, you know, and in thinking how their own lives could possibly be jeopardized for certain areas of the world. But then it comes with the territory, as they say. But then certain ones is that much more to be considered as not exactly conducive to one's general health. Although, regardless how at one time or another, as I was hearing it, that, you know, the atmosphere for the state of Israel in the Middle East is supposedly less hostile than certain major metropolitan American cities. Can you imagine that? And that's including when it comes in comparison to the city of Chicago, Illinois, USA, where I myself am at, you know, and for the Midwest. Can you imagine that? Anyway, though, I just thought to share with you all this here present social media broadcast, you know, being as it's a video content, and there could possibly be an international tribunal, is it, for the president of the state of Israel to be tried as a war crimes criminal? I don't know about that, though. Or impeached, and I don't know about that either, but anyway, I'm about to cut this short because a certain dickhead prick of a neighbor from damn hell wants to continue to show that he could be a real poop button pissant of a two-bit punk. You know, the local drug pusher interrupting my present social media broadcast of video content. You know, I hate it when somebody does that, like as if, you know, I can't broadcast anything without mentioning his foul, funky, dinosaur turd ass, you know, a really obnoxious, low-life scumbag, nigger SOB bastard of a riffraff. You know, the devil is a lie, the truth is not in him. But may God still be in the blessing business. Anyway, though, on this last note of interest, I would like to say, you know, if you have not gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I would hope that you would think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your veins. But recognizing and realizing what he himself had done or did upon the cross of Calvary on the hill of Golgotha as he was crucified between two thieves, you know, so that he could restore the breach between God and humankind, so that you don't have to worry about going to damn hell if you profess faith in him, whereas you would become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven compared to the unsaved, lost down human souls, the non-believers or unbelievers otherwise, whereas you would be considered as a citizen of the kingdom of heaven, a fellow believer in God, a Christian, you know, with us, others of the household of faith, of the family of God. You all take care and be safe. We out. Peace.